What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 97 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my dining room. And I just want to wish everyone viewing this video a Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a great Christmas with your family or your loved ones, whoever you spent Christmas with. So let's get down to it. Let's do the NFL Week 16 recap. Let's start with last Thursday night's game between the Titans and the Niners. The Titans won 20-17. Ryan Tannehill, 209 passing yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. And A.J. Brown, 11 catches for 145 yards and a touchdown for him. As for Niners quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, 322 passing yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And Deebo Samuel, 9 catches for 159 yards. So the Titans get the win, and they go to 10-5 on the season. They were outscored 10-0 in the first half, and it wasn't looking that great. But in the second half, they outscored the 49ers 20-7. And a big thanks was to A.J. Brown. This was his first game coming back in a month due to injury, and he absolutely went off, and he really sparked that offensive, that type of offensive player that the Titans desperately needed since Derrick Henry has been out. And the Titans defense, honestly, credit to them. They changed the game with 2 interceptions that they caused from Jimmy Garoppolo. And the Titans offense didn't turn the ball over. So that's a big storyline for the game, too. And Jimmy Garoppolo, he just had a bad game. I mean, he's kind of the reason why the Niners lost. I know that, it's a team game, but, Jimmy did not play good at all. Niners are now 8-7 on the season. All right, let's go to the Saturday games. We had 2 games that were on Christmas. We have the Packers beating the Browns 24-22. Aaron Rodgers, 202 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Devontae Adams, 10 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, 222 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, but he had 4 interceptions. Nick Chubb, 126 rushing yards and a rushing TD. So the Packers win their 4th straight game, and they move to 12-3 on the season. Rodgers to Adams is what absolutely killed the Browns all afternoon. And the Packers defense had 5 sacks and 4 interceptions. Baker Mayfield basically gave the game away with 4 interceptions. He just looked really horrible out there. And pretty much every interception turned to Packers points. If he doesn't turn the ball over 4 times, maybe the Browns win. And Nick Chubb was absolutely killing the Packers in the run game. And it's just like the Browns didn't feed him, especially on that last drive when Baker threw his 4th pick. Chubb was gashing them, and they still had a timeout. They still had plenty of time to work, and, they just didn't feed Nick Chubb for some reason. Browns are now 7-8. The next Christmas game was the Colts beating the Cardinals 22-16. Carson Wentz, 225 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jonathan Taylor, 108 rushing yards. Michael Pittman, 8 catches for 82 yards. As for quarterback Kyler Murray, 245 passing yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, and 74 rushing yards. Chase Edmonds, 56 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. He also had 8 catches for 71 yards. So the Colts get an impressive win on the road and go to 9-6 on the season. Jonathan Taylor, he really didn't have that great of a game. He did rush for over 100 yards, but it was Carson Wentz that took over. It showed that, he could be the main guy on that offense if needed to. He stepped up in the pocket. He made a clutch touchdown throw late in the 4th quarter that pretty much put the Cardinals away. And the Cardinals, their kicking issue just bit them and cost them the game. Matt Prater, he was 1 for 3 of field goals and 1 for 2 of extra points. The Cardinals now go to 10-5 on the season. They have lost their 3rd straight game. So as for the Sunday games coming up, we have the Falcons beating the Lions 20-16. Matt Ryan, 215 passing yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Rookie tight end Kyle Pitts had 6 catches for 102 yards. And Tim Boyle, he replaced Jared Goff. He threw for 187, a touchdown, and an interception. And the rookie Amon-Ra St. Brown caught 9 catches, 91 yards for a touchdown. So the Falcons win their first home game in over a year, and they move to 7-8 on the season. The Falcons offense did a good job by not turning the ball over. And, Goff was battling COVID, so Tim Boyle stepped up, and he honestly didn't do that bad. And the main part of the game that I enjoyed was watching the rookies Kyle Pitts and Amon-Ra St. Brown ball out. They both had great games as rookies. They definitely have a bright future. Lions fall to 2 wins, 12 losses, and 1 tie on the season. Next is the Rams beating the Vikings 30-23. Matt Stafford, 197 passing yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Sony Michel, 131 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 10 catches for 109 yards. As for Kirk Cousins of the Vikings, 315 passing yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And Justin Jefferson, 8 catches for 116 yards. So the Rams moved to 11-4 and have now won 4 straight games. Matt Stafford had a terrible game, but it really didn't matter because Sony Michel was able to run the ball really, really well. And the Vikings were able to force 3 turnovers, but they couldn't get the win. And that big part of not getting the win was having Sony Michel just absolutely run them over. And no Dalvin Cook in the Vikings offense, it equaled the struggling Vikings team. Vikings are now 7-8 on the season. Next is the Jets beating the Jaguars 26-21. Zach Wilson, the rookie, had a great performance, 102 passing yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, 91 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. The rookie Michael Carter had a good game too. He had 118 rushing yards. And Braxton Berrios, the receiver, he had a 103-yard kick return touchdown. As for the other rookie, Trevor Lawrence, he threw for 280 passing yards, no touchdowns or interceptions, but he did fumble the ball. And Marvin Jones was the offensive threat that day with 8 catches for 74 yards. So the Jets get a win and go to 4-11 on the season. Zach Wilson played his best game of his career so far. He had a really cool 52-yard rushing touchdown. It juked out a bunch of people. It looked really cool. And Braxton Berrios, he provided a spark in that game with his special teams return for a touchdown. He looked good out there. And the Jags, they lost their running back, James Robinson, with a torn Achilles. It's very sad news. And they just could not establish the run game once he left early in the first quarter. They got stopped inside the 10-yard line on 4th down, which pretty much sealed their fate. The Jags have now lost 7 straight games, and they go to 2-13 on the season. Next is the Eagles beating the Giants 34-10. Jalen Hurts, 199 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The rookie Devontae Smith, 5 catches, 80 yards and a touchdown. Jake Fromm getting his first start, didn't look too good. 25 passing yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. So in comes Mike Glennon, who threw for 93 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The Eagles have now won 3 straight and moved to 8-7 on the year. They didn't turn the ball over, and they were able to get turnovers off the Giants, including a pick 6 off of Mike Glennon. The game was tied 3-3 at halftime, but the Eagles exploded for 31 points in the second half. And the Giants, they just continue to look awful out there. They're really injured, and they're just done. They're officially eliminated from the playoffs and are now 4-11 on the season. Next is the Bills beating the Patriots 33-21. Josh Allen, 314 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Isaiah McKenzie, 11 catches, 125 yards and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 7 catches, 85 yards and a touchdown. As for rookie quarterback Mac Jones, 145 passing yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Damian Harris, 103 rushing yards plus a rushing touchdown. So the Bills get revenge on the Patriots to move to 9-6 on the season. The Bills, they didn't fall for Belichick's tricks this time. They really couldn't stop the run that well, but they were also able to turn the ball over for Mac Jones. The Bills' defense bullied Mac Jones, made him look like a rookie, and the Bills did a good job by not turning the ball over themselves. Patriots now fall to 9-6 on the season. Next is the Bengals beating up the Ravens 41-21. Joe Burrow, 525 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. T. Higgins, 12 catches, 194 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The rookie Jamar Chase, 7 catches for 125 yards. As for Josh Johnson, 304 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Tight end Mark Andrews, 8 catches, 125 yards, and a touchdown. So the Bengals sweep the Ravens and go to 9-6 on the season. Joe Burrow absolutely torched the banged-up Ravens secondary. And the defensive coordinator, Don Martindale, he said, we shouldn't be so quick to give Joe Burrow a gold jacket yet. And, Joe Burrow made him pay for those comments. And T. Higgins is insane. He is on my fantasy team. He's a big reason why I'm advancing to the championship. He put up a Randy Moss-like stat line. He's just been killing it this year. And, Josh Johnson, he filled in for Lamar. He filled in for Tyler Huntley. And he honestly did pretty good. There's not really much else you could ask him to do with a banged-up O-line around him. He really didn't do bad. The Ravens fall to 8-7 on the season, and they have now lost 4 straight. Next is the Texans, beating the Chargers 41-29. The rookie Davis Mills, 254 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rex Burkhead, 149 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns for him. Justin Herbert, 336 passing yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And the running back, Justin Jackson, 64 yards rushing plus 2 rushing touchdowns. He also had 8 catches for 98 yards and a fumble. So the Texans get a huge upset win and go to 4-11 on the season. Davis Mills has been looking amazing. He's one of the rookie QBs who's truly underrated and arguably the best rookie QB out of the draft. I know people say Mac Jones, but Mac Jones does have a lot to work with in New England while Davis Mills doesn't have anything. And the Texans' run game, they exploited that Chargers' run defense that's been awful all season. Justin Herbert just did not have a good game. And no Austin Eckler and no Mike Williams in the lineup. The Chargers just looked lost out there. They go to 8-7 on the season. Next is the Bucs beating up the Panthers 32-6. Tom Brady, 232 passing yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Antonio Brown, 10 catches for 101 yards. As for quarterback Cam Newton, 61 yards passing, no touchdown and interception. So in comes Sam Darnold, who threw for 190 passing yards, no touchdowns or interceptions for him. The Bucs moved to 11-4 on the season. They clinched their first NFC South title since 2007. No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, so Antonio Brown was the guy to step up that day in the receiving department. And even with no Fournette in the lineup running the ball, the Bucs still rushed for 159 total yards. The Bucs defense had an interception and 7 sacks. The Panthers have now lost their 5th straight and are 5-10 on the season and are officially eliminated from the playoffs. Next is the Bears beating the Seahawks 25-24. Nick Foles, 250 passing yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. David Montgomery, a rushing touchdown, and he also had 7 catches for 61 yards. Russell Wilson, 181 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And Rashad Penny, 135 rushing yards and a rushing TD. So the Bears snap their 3-game losing streak and go to 5-10 on the season. And Nick Foles, arguably the greatest backup quarterback of all time. It just seems like no matter where he goes, no matter who he starts for, he's able to win that team games. And the Seahawks were up, they were up 10 points in the 4th quarter and just blew the game away. Nick Foles led them on a game-winning touchdown drive and converted the 2-point conversion. Seahawks have now been eliminated from the playoffs and are now 5-10 on the season. Next is the Raiders beating the Broncos 17-13. Derek Carr, 201 passing yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a fumble. Josh Jacobs, 129 rushing yards and a fumble. And Hunter Renfrow had a touchdown catch that afternoon. Drew Lock, replacing Teddy Bridgewater, 153 passing yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. And the rookie Javonte Williams had a rushing touchdown on the day. So the Raiders stay alive in the playoff race as they move to 8-7. Although the offense made mistakes, the Raiders' defense did a great job by only allowing 171 total yards. The Raiders had 160 rushing yards, while the Broncos only had 18 rushing yards on the day. And Drew Lock, he's still playing like he's not a starter. We kind of knew this, and he kind of keeps proving us all right. The Broncos go to 7-8 on the season. Next is the Chiefs beating up on the Steelers 36-10. Patrick Mahomes, 258 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Byron Pringle was his main target that day. 6 catches, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Ben Roethlisberger, 159 passing yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a fumble. And Deontay Johnson, 6 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown. So the Chiefs win their 8th straight game and go to 11-4 on the season. The Chiefs captured their 6th straight AFC West title. And Mahomes, he carved up the Steelers without his main target, Travis Kelce. The Chiefs' defense also made plays with an interception, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. And at one point in the game, the Chiefs were up 30-0, complete domination by them. Steelers' offense just was non-existent at all, as the Steelers fall to 7 wins, 7 losses, and 1 tie on the season. Next is the Dallas Cowboys smoking the Washington football team 56-14. Dak Prescott, 330 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Amari Cooper, 7 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Tight end Dalton Schultz, 8 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. And running back Ezekiel Elliott had a rushing and receiving touchdown in that game. Quarterback Taylor Heineke threw for 121 passing yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And Antonio Gibson, he was the only one who did anything on offense that day. He had a receiving touchdown. So the Cowboys absolutely crushed Washington by 42 points and sweep them on the season. The Cowboys moved to 11-4 on the season. They've won 4 straight wins, and they have now clinched the NFC East title. The Washington football team bought their own heated benches to an indoor stadium just to be losing 42-7 at halftime, a complete idiotic move on their part. The Washington football team players were even fighting each other on the sidelines when they were down 20-something points before the half ended. And Dak, he had an amazing game. I know I've been saying the offense has been struggling lately, but Dak and the offense absolutely looked great out there. He had all of his stats just in one half, and they pulled him for the second half. And thankfully, Amari Cooper spoke up about not getting targets because he balled out. When his number was called, he was there to make plays. And the defense absolutely did a great job, too. They had 2 interceptions and 5 sacks. And one of the interceptions they had was a DeMarcus Lawrence pick 6. Trayvon Diggs got his 11th interception on the season. And Micah Parsons got his 13th sack on the season. And the special teams, let's not forget about them either. They had a blocked punt touchdown. So, all ends of the Dallas Cowboys was clicking. Offense, defense, and special teams. As for Washington, they fall to 6-9 on the season. They lost 3 straight. Last is the Monday Night Football game. We have the Dolphins crushing the Saints 20-3. Tua Tagovailoa, 198 passing yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The rookie Jalen Waddle, 10 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. And Ian Book threw for 135 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Alvin Kamara was pretty much the only guy out there on offense who did anything, even though he didn't really have that great of a game. He had 52 rushing yards. So the Dolphins have now won 7 straight games and go to 8-7 on the season. The Dolphins are the first team in NFL history to lose 7 straight games and win 7 straight games in the same season. And the rookie Jalen Waddle, man, he's a problem. He's going to be fun to watch in the upcoming years. And this was a rough first start for Ian Book. I know, Jameis Winston's been out. Now Taysom Hill was out, so in comes Ian Book. And he just did not have a good job at all because the Dolphins defense picked him off twice. Once was a pick 6, and he was sacked 8 times. Saints go to 7-8 on the season. So that's it for the Week 16 recap around the NFL. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. Do what you can to like and promote my page. Share my content. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.